Last year, scientists at Johns Hopkins University studied Louie Louie at the granular level, and they determined that Louie Louie was the most awesome song ever. And a recent issue of Awesome magazine said that Louie Louie was the 131st most awesome piece of art ever. And it came ahead of Beethoven's Hallelujah Chorus from the Ninth Symphony, James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, and the fourth season of Seinfeld. But you don't need scientists or journalists to say to you that Louie Louie is the most awesome song ever. You know that, you're cultured people, very sophisticated, but this video is to talk about why it is that. The lyrics to Louie Louie are and so on. They are completely impossible to understand, and that is what makes them great art, and that's what makes them awesome. Any lyric can become very clinical and boring if you understand exactly what it is. It is what Werner Herzog once so memorably said, the truth of accountants. But if you don't know what the words are, they become ineffable. They become the kind of truth that cannot be reduced to words. When I was a young teenager, I thought that the lyrics are about things that boys were doing with girls that I hadn't done yet. So at that time, those lyrics were aspirational for me. But those lyrics can be anything for anyone at any time. Louie Louie can be played on any guitar, but I think it really sounds best if it's played on a piece of crap guitar like this one. Another thing is that the strings cannot be replaced like ever. If some of them break, it really doesn't make any difference. Louie Louie sounds fine on 5 or 4 or even 3 strings. And also, it should not be perfectly tuned. Of course, if you followed my advice about getting a piece of crap guitar, you couldn't get it perfectly in tune with tuning mechanisms like this, even if you really wanted to. Louie Louie is written in a classic trichordal, triharmonic, triglyceridal structure. The first chord is A, which is generally considered the most awesome chord of them all. In fact, it's been used by literally dozens of composers over the ages. It's that good. And then we go up a fourth to D. Now, I don't want to say anything bad about Ds, but they're what we refer to as a utility chord. And how can I explain that? It's kind of like a hammer. Like if you need to hammer in a nail, then, you know, a hammer does the job better than anything. And I could say the same thing about that D. It does the job. Very little more. We then go to a minor chord, and it's E minor. Normally, you want to avoid minor chords because they're too sad. But in this case, it works because of the dialectical relationship between the A and the D and the E minor. If you can think of the A as this fist, and you can think of the D as this fist, and my nose as E minor, you can see how it works. There's an almost percussive result when all three of those things are put together, and that is the divine alchemy that makes Louie Louie awesome. Louie Louie begins with a tuplet of rhythmical strikes on the A, which sound like this. And then there are two strikes, a duet of notes really, on the D. And then there are three notes, three strikes on the E minor. And back to the D for, so it's a 3-2, 3-2 pattern, which in common parlance is just known as a Louie. And anyway, so if you put it all together, it sounds like this. Let's say you're in the studio with a singer and the singer says, you know, A is not a good key for me. I'd rather sing it in G. And here's the beautiful thing about Louie Louie. You just move your fingers down like this. And then you can play it the exact same thing you were playing up here. You just play it down there and the singer will be happy. So if you have your eyes set on a career as a session musician, this is the kind of thing that can make you very popular, particularly if all the jobs you get involve playing Louie Louie. You probably noticed that I never actually played the chords to Louie Louie in this video. There's a good reason for that. If I did that, YouTube would take it down immediately as a copyright violation. I hope that it was interesting for you anyway. So thanks for listening. This is Tiger the Frog, and if you'd like to find out about other awesome things, please subscribe. And then there are two strikes on the D. And then oh, no.